The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with Undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, and 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team. The Amba War Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort, while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
For some weeks now, Ambazonians in diaspora has turned out and up for the draft. The slogan has been draft until we drop, and we can say for a fact that that's what has been going on. Kudos to everyone that has seen this draft as our responsibility. Bravo to all that has seen the future even now. Last week was Libya Lem. A huge sum of over 45,000 US dollars was raised. Today will be Donga Mantun County DMC. How much will be raised? Well, we'll find out later this evening once the draft starts. But before then, let's study and learn about the villages that are in DMC. I am Onyi Okbala. Now, we'll start with villages that make up Nkambe Central Local Government Area. The villages that make up Nkambe Central Local Government Area are Kongi, Konchep, Binshwa, Bier, Sa, Wat, Wangui, Kup, Chup, Mbot, Nkambe, Bongom, Tabenkem, Njab, Abinke, and Amba. The people of all these villages speak the same language called Limbum. The estimated population of Nkambe Central Now, the people of all those villages speak the same language called Limbum. The estimated population of Nkambe Central as of 2018 is 171,487 with a growth of 4.86% per annum. Now, let's go to the villages that make up Ndu local government area. The villages that make up this local government area are Ndun, Njikang, Njila, Wowo, Tala, Ngarum, Taku, Ntundip, Leo, Sa, Ntumbao, Njirong, Ngula, Nshimakbo, Sina, Sop, and Mbigo. The people of all the villages above speak one language called Limbum and are of the Wimbum tribe. Ndu local government area has an estimated population of 95,000 inhabitants as far as 2018. Alright, let's go to the villages that make up Misaje local government area. The villages that make up Misaja local government area are Chungi, Kibo, Bem, Nkanchi, Nkamala, Mfumi, Dumbi, Bebekete, Sambogidi, Akweto, Kemeni, and Kwe. The local government is made up of 3 clans, namely Kemezum, Chani, and the Bisa. The 3 clans speak different dialects. The population of the local government area is estimated at 26,641 inhabitants. Now, let's draw down to the villages that make up the Ako local government area. Now, the population stands at 40,6 349 inhabitants. Now, the villages that make up Akko local government area are Akko, Bira Bay, Zembaburu, Birimbua, Berenchere, Akwache, Mba, Asa, Akwesa, Mbumushe, Bunku, Abanfwe, Ndaka, Abinka, Akwenko, Ande, Abande, and Jevi. Now, there is one main ethnic group in this local government called Mbembe. They speak virtually the same language. The population is estimated at 44,349 inhabitants. Let's take a walk to the villages that make up the Unwa local government area. Now, the villages that make up the Unwa local government area are Adere, Bang, Bitu, Ncha, Luz, Kom, Mbala, Kwaji, Jui, Kofa, Mbanam, Mba, Mbat, Mbenji, Sam, Ntim, Ntonk, Kwak, Fam, Ngung, Si, Bom, Gum, Mfei, Nwa, Mbim, Nkot, Rom, Yang, Nguri, Ntem, Nwanti, Ngu, Mbirinkpa, Nking, Nwat, Ngom, Sabangari, Yorung, Nkonkwi, Jasto, Gwambe, Ngamfekot, and Lee. Unwa local government area has an estimated population of 122,000 inhabitants. Unwa local government area is the oldest in the Northwest region. It was created on July 4th, 1963. There are 42 villages that make up these three clans, and they are Mfunti, Yambe, and Mbao. Now, it should be noted that the above are gazetted chiefdoms in southern Cameroon. It should be noted as well that there are many places, especially in the Wumbum area, that some people consider as village or chiefdoms, but they are actually quarters of other villages as per the official gazette of chiefdoms in southern Cameroon. It should equally be noted that some of these quarters have become big enough to have the status of chiefdom. We hope sooner than later the competent authorities will gazette more chiefdoms. I'm sure you have learned something new about DMC. Now, before the pre-draft proper, let's get to the recap of our major stories from the week, just in case you missed it, but that'll be right after this break.
The Amba World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort, while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means sent to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory.
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depends on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop. You're welcome back. Remember, the recap highlights all our major stories from the week. Let's start with the Ukraine and Russian story. Now, you know, ever since the war started, Ukraine seems to be gaining momentum in spite of Russia's aggression and invasion. Now, that's a result of a country not ready to surrender, a country not ready to give up, a country not ready to give in to the pressures of the world. If Ukraine is not giving up, why does La République du Cameroon think they will intimidate Ambazonia into submission or surrendering? Now, has La République du Cameroon seen the unity, the strategy from the interim government led by His Excellency President Samuel Sako? Have they seen the turnout of counties and local governments during the draft? Have they, La République du Cameroon, not heard of the leadership qualities found in different counties? Don't they know the ARFs and what they do? You can name it. Ambazonians are seriously on the right track, and I think that they will definitely succeed in this war. Now, let's talk about succeeding. Now, the sound of successes recorded so far is definitely audible to the deaf. Just last week, Saturday, a colossal sum of $45,778 US. That's even above anyway, was raised by Ambazonians at the Libya war draft. Now, it is very indicative that Ambazonians are bent on restoring their independence, come rain, come shine, because the amount raised is very, very challenging to dictators and coup plotters to understand that Dr. Sako and the IG call the shots throughout the home front. Now, it sends signals to fence-sitters and doubting Thomases to join the bandwagon and the winning team. For who could have expected that after the confusion set by Chris Anu and his gang of scammers, which led to the death of the dreaded Field Marshal of Libya, such mobilization by the IG could yield resounding successes? What do we say? Bravo, President Sako. Now, just in case you do not know, the Libya victory comes after successful and successive drafts in Mazam County, Mayu County, Boyo County, and of course, ABC Amba TV draft that have been sending shockwaves within the enemy ranks. Now, on that same Saturday, the president also explained that one of the strategies on any war is to attack. So the president has encouraged all the boys and girls, mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters. He has told them, in his words, he says, take up weapons now and wait for the marauders at the gate. He has told them to shoot at anything that comes in the name of La République du Cameroon to their doorsteps, especially uniformed men and women who are sent to kill our brothers and sisters. Now he says, hide your weapons there where you can safely retreat, pick them up and surprise your assailants with a fatal blow. Now let's watch that video from the president.
In response to the enemy's barbaric strategy to annihilate all of us Ambazonians without exception by indiscriminately killing our innocent civilians, using black clerks, the criminal colonial soldiers, and Banqui Emil's criminal vigilantes, we are going to change our game plan this way. Remember that from our ancient customary practices in Ambazonia, every household is supposed to have a weapon it can afford to protect itself from any assailant. That's Ambazonian. It used to be a cutlass, a spear, or a bow. and arrow in the days of old. Self-defense is therefore enshrined in our Ambazonian culture. Ambazonian citizens in the home front are hereby authorized to draft within their household by contributing to purchase a suitable weapon for the protection of members of their household. This is strictly for self-defense purposes. Two households may combine resources to buy one per draft year. If a household does not have a capable adult to operate the weapon, they may donate their weapon or contribution to the nearest genuine ARF camp and keep their local government leadership appropriately informed. Families are called upon to save or solicit for help from their loved ones anywhere in the world. Monies to acquire an AK or at least one pistol with some granates for the security of their household and property. Our patriotic ARFs should help to give weapon owners free training on safety and operational procedures. It is better we were killed fighting the enemy than to be killed as innocent civilians. It is better we were killed after having tried to defend ourselves than to be killed under our beds like mosquitoes. The aim of this strategy is to counter the Republic's new strategy of killing our defenseless civilians and putting guns on their corpses, as we saw in Batibo recently, just to portray them as Ambazonian combatants. In the eyes of our French Cameroon killers, we all are all soldiers. So let all the boys and girls, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters take up weapons now and wait for the marauders at the gate. Shoot at anything that comes in the name of La Republique to your doorsteps, especially uniformed men and women who are sent to kill you. Hide your weapons where you can safely retreat, pick them up, and surprise your assailant with a fatal blow.
Now, away from the draft story, let's get into some human anger stories right now. Hundreds of people currently stranded after heavy rains of August 11, 2022 in Widdicombe. Now, the heavy downpour killed 2 and swept away 20 houses, leaving the owners stranded. Widdicombe is a local government area within the Momo County of the Midland region of Amazonia. Torrential rain has caused flooding and landslide in Tiben, Widdicombe, where at least 2 women have lost their lives and about 20 houses swept off. According to the House Slave Mayor of Widdicombe, Undaunted, there was a landslide in a village called Eka, just about 10 kilometers from Widdicombe, and that swept 2 houses and killed 2 women, and the floods in Widdicombe swept about 20 houses away. The mayor ordered that work is ongoing to determine the actual extent of the damage caused. The incident also disrupted traffic flow along the Trans-African Highway that links the south. Let's see that video.
Jump barrier, I don't sleep outside. Landslides, road is blocked. This is the road. See cars parked down there. See, this is the road. The road are blocked.
Remember, we reported on Monday, August 15, 2022, of a landslide, that's this particular one, that occurred in Widdicombe, leaving 2 dead and with enormous property destroyed. While the landslide also caused the collapse of a roadside bank over the road linking Bamendo to a neighboring Nigeria through Batibo, Manfe and Echo corridor. Now, getting to Widdicombe from Batibo is now not possible with the use of vehicle, given that the heap of soil on the tarred road is still begging to be removed. Now, the local population have tried to attempt to clear the blockage with crude tools, but their efforts are not enough to make the road passable for vehicles of any type to pass. Left with no other choice than to bypass the heap of soil, road users of that part of the region have created a footpath. Through this footpath, they can now transport their goods from one end of the blockage to another by carrying them on their heads. Now let's see that video.
When I would control this, where if everybody suffer for road, and say, I market today will fair go no day or we no joy day or na see people then. Landslide for Tiben, we no joy day na day. You can see people suffering. Where Papa Shia or where they carry cap on only for hate. We no day or we no day. When I work for 1 week, when I only for 1 day. Where people they suffer. Wow. Well, just go carry Okada bring up, Papa. I say repair Asha. Mr. Wilfred. Asha, Papa. Well, good attacker. Well, on a Bambi for hit. Well,
half a year. They're not even here for moving.
we know the. Maybe Rose, Asha, Pa. Well, sir, this is over route. We'll see where that will feel good. Man, walk on the inside bush. Wow. Well, the spirit up, Asha. Sir.
Now the customer to come back here.
Good motor. Warrior. Wait till you share. Why, doctor? Where? Jigga him up.
Bro, if you want to go.
Right, when I show. Who saw the thing there? Well, let's shut that in.
Now you can imagine the distance people would have to cross with their loads on their heads. I mean, you can see the mothers and the girls there still carrying loads. That's very pathetic. Now let's move over to another disturbing story. The roads. We must talk, and we will keep talking until something is done about it. The roads linking Bamenda to Wom through Bafut is outrageous. Now, the road has worsened with the heavy downpour lately. The road was passable during the dry season, even though in a poll state that were reported to you as well. Now, this stretch of road is part of the ring road promised to the people of Southern Cameroon's Amba in 1983 by colonial President Paul Biya. From 1983 to 2022 is already 39 years. Now, that is 39 years that the people of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia have been waiting in vain. The ring road measures approximately 357 kilometers long, dividing this distance over the number of waiting years, which is 39 years. Therefore, its 9.15 kilometer was to be constructed each year, but that has never been the case. At present time, the county of Wom is cut off from the headquarters of the Midland region at Bamenda. Now, this Bamenda-Wom stretch of road is only supply route for basic commodities to Wom. With the stop of circulation as a result of the state of the road, this locality is deprived of the supply of basic goods, and medical evacuation equally from Wom to Bamenda is not made possible. Now, the importance of the ring road to Zavana and the Midland region now comes to play, but then there are no roads at the end of the day. Now, from that story from the week, we move to the lies-telling team made up of Hangman Ngala Gerald Stood, MP, on the ticket of Yaoundé Crime Syndicate CPDM rather, that's the CPDM party, who doubles as proprietor of the terrorizing gang. The vigilante squad in Nkambe local government are specialized in stealing, kidnapping, and settlement of skulls in Donga Mantun County. Another CPDM page. Naomi Mbogyo MP for Ndo local government area, and Adamu Edward MP for Nwa local government area. Now, the three were bearers of another La Republic du Cameroon MT living together agenda. They have this agenda to lobby the Wumbum community and Donga Mantu County elites residents in the US that all was well and that they may turn their backs to the Ambazonian liberation struggle. Now, unfortunately for them, their mission was dead on arrival as the wise people of Donga Mantung boycotted, and Hangman and Lady Ngala Gerald and Naomi Mbongyo got stranded at the said BBQ ground and decided to call it off. Even their courtesy call to the fun of Njirong village, Ndu local government area, His Royal Highness Fong Nganjo himself, a US citizen, on the eve of the planned gathering in order to tap royal blessings, didn't even help them. Alright, from Ngala Gerald story, let's go over to Chris Anu. Now, Chris Anu, Ambazonians are demanding some answers to the questions that we'll be asking today. There are so many of them, but we're just going to ask a few, about 5 of them. So we hope that he answers these questions swiftly. Now, the first one is, what are the guarantees that Anu, who sought to corrupt the leader, shall not promote and optimize corruption? The second one, Anu forced through a baseless impeachment by dividing and destroying the Restoration Council. Well, now, what are the guarantees that Chris Anu shall uphold and maintain the integrity of our national institutions? The third one, can Anu disclose the identity of the armed dealer to whom 135,000 US dollars was disbursed to supply Ambazonia weapons? Very important. We need that for our ARFs. Now that Anu has killed his brother, well, allegedly killed his brother FMA, what are the guarantees that Anu should not easily kill other Ambazonian fighters who are not related to him? And we have another one. Anu delivered the IGA. Anu divided the IG on allegations of bad governance and is currently dividing his breakaway faction on the basis of allegiance and palliability. Of course, it's twisted, coerced, and compliance. Now, can Anu vouch not to divide Ambazonians for his personal ends? Can Anu disclose to Ambazonians the identity of those who killed FMA? Now, Anu just said other candidates can come to his ABS TV to campaign, but not to talk against any other leader. Can Anu explain why he spoke against his babysitter Marianta? Is Marianta no longer a candidate in their so-called inexistent IG? Now, there are other questions, but he can start by answering this few, because we are not just the ones asking this question. Also, activist Ochiba Nelson, on his part, brings in some rhetorical questions, and then he's asking, who is Christopher Arnold? He's asking, and these are some of the reasons why he's asking. He says he is the manipulator, deal maker. He says, in quotes, I brought the deal. That's how Chris Anu says it. I brought the deal. Now, La Republic du Cameroon presidential candidate introduced without Ambazonian national anthem in his blue, white, red France colors television. He led another deal and duped IG of 135,000 US dollars, which he later said was a scam. Now, a man who surrounds himself with embezzlers and fraudsters, and when he achieves his objective, he dumps them all. A man who thinks the man with the loudest voice reflects wisdom. A man who sings praises to himself, carried by share, views. A man who reads the Bible upside down if you judge from his actions.
A double agent who sinks actions on the ground, then steals money meant to trigger that action. A man who asks Liberian people to come out from the forest and clean their homes and open community schools towards a return to normalcy, and asks them LAGMI to open roads so that La Republic du Cameroon schools can operate. He was once against a Mazam lockdown in solidarity with Bali. Of course, you can call him pro La Republic du Cameroon. Now, activist Ochiba Nelson is asking there. All right, so now this week was filled with juicy stories from Christopher Arnest. Now, let's go to Nicolas Ngo Santos. Now, many people saw the Ambazonian struggle as an opportunity to pursue personal interest against the suffering of the masses. They thought it would be a quick march. After realizing that it was a long-haul journey, many began showing their real colors. Nicolas Ngo Santos is one of such people. He and others organized the APNC to stage a coup against the leadership of the interim government. Of course, it failed. He and others created what they call the Transitional Restoration Council to replace the Restoration Council of the interim government. What happened? It failed again. He later brought up the Ghana Peace Conference, in which he branded himself as a peace ambassador, even though the conference never held. Then he went in for election as a cadre of the CPDM in diaspora chapter, Maryland area, even though he lost the elections. Alright, so roads in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia has gotten so bad that it had become researchable in schools. Now, we just have to leave Santo's story there. Now, let's go over to roads again. Now, how terrible can something be for it to become researchable? Now, that shows you the extent and how bad these roads are. So the roads in Bamenda are in very poor state, as seen in frequency and occurrences of potholes with a depth and width ranging from 7 to 9 meters. Despite the very poor state, the roads are heavily plied by vehicles, motorbikes, and of course pedestrians on a daily basis. The roads did not conform to construction and engineering norms. Most have not been equipped with road signs, signboard, pedestrian paths, zebra signs, parking facility, and gauge drains. Now, the above is the concluding statement of a study titled Agony of Circulation in the Bamenda Metropolitan Area of the Northwest Region of Cameroon. The study is carried out by Leslie Ntumbia and Lawrence Fombay, respectively, of the Department of Geography and Planning, University of Bamenda, and Higher Institute of Transport and Logistics, University of Bamenda. Now, the study is published in the International Journal of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, Volume 03, Issue number 02, February 2022. Now, the concluding statement of that study is the tip of the iceberg as to the agony and nightmare faced by the people of southern Cameroon as they use the road in the headquarters of the Midland region of Ambazonia. Come to think of it, Bamenda was just given the appellation city by colonial presidential decree to harbor 3 local government areas, and just to least to say, a shadow of itself as far as road infrastructure is concerned. Now, you'll be wondering why there is a city in that name, Bamenda, right? Now, still talking about Bamenda here, a Bamenda-based journalist working for one of Cameroon's leading weekly newspaper narrated his journey. He just returned from Douala after a business trip. Now, he complained he arrived at Matizam border at 4 a.m. and only succeeded in filing past 2 security cordons after a 4 hours delay. Now, hyperbolically, that's almost the amount of time Africans trying to cross the Mexican border into the United States take. Now, think about it, how many hours that is. Now, this is a particular of what southern Cameroons go through in the hands of colonial authorities of La Republic du Cameroon. Now, the colonial Biya regime has put in place a mechanism to frustrate the people of southern Cameroon and render them more vulnerable. Why such a treatment on a particular group of people in a country that's supposed to be one? You're thinking about it, right? We'll definitely think about it. All right, let's go over to food prices. The hikes in food prices is becoming alarming, and we must talk about it because, I mean, you all need to be alive, right? We all need to be alive to continue this battle. So the hikes in the prices of basic commodities and construction materials is normal observance in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Now, inasmuch as it is the responsibility of economics to explain certain challenges and the price of goods in local and international market, it is an obligation for the nation to play a regulatory role of the prices of goods and services within the national territories. That is why there are agencies and groups, right? Now, the marketplace is a jungle in a situation where price regulatory institutions fail in their responsibilities to regulate prices of basic commodities. Now, when the price difference between neighboring town is just the additional cost as a result of transportation, you can understand that, right? Not like the injustice with the price of cooking gas, which we brought to you some time ago, that is sold in southern Cameroon for 8,000 francs CFA and 6,000 francs CFA in a neighboring town in La Republic du Cameroon town. Now, with just the above example and with the passive attitude of the colonial administrators in southern Cameroon to regulate the price, it is the glaring evidence of economic exploitation of the people of southern Cameroon by the imperialist Biya regime. The continuous increase in the price of basic commodities without a corresponding increase in the outcome of household goods is a problem. What can a common man do in the face of hikes in prices of basic commodities? Now, basic commodities like palm oil is getting extremely expensive in Ambazonia, regardless of the fact that it is mild there. Of course, these are the major highlights from our week. Let's get into some fresh new report, but that's after this break.
The Amba World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depends on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
We the people ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
Yeah. Ambazonia, ghost people, ghosts. You just see that there, don't come out. You just see that there, don't come. You know how they come out, don't come out. Now, ghost people. You know, manifest, no come on. It's very delicate. We will never leave until we reach Boya. We will never leave Nigeria. We go until we reach Boya. Until we reach Boya. Until we reach Boya. We will never leave Nigeria. We go until we reach Boya.
Alright, of course, you're welcome back. The video that you just saw, Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians who marched across Southern Nicosia on Friday to protest the genocidal onslaught in the homeland, I beg your pardon. Now, dozens of IG loyalists and demonstrators gathered outside the office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee, the UNHCR in Ngome. They were holding placards with photos of bodies with a description suggesting they belonged to civilians killed by the military during the ongoing war in Ambazonia. Now, the group submitted a petition to the UN community in Cyprus as an appeal to the international community and humanitarian organizations to understand their plight and help put an end to their deadly conflict. The president of Ambazonia, President Samuel Ikonesako, addressed the European loyalist that was part of this protest in Cyprus yesterday, that's Friday. Now, by Monday, Undaunted will give you more details, so ensure that you connect with us on Monday when we will bring the full briefings to your doorstep. All right, right after the break, we will be giving you brief history of Donga Mantun County. Remember, today we draft for DMC. So today, right after the break, we would give you a brief history of Donga Mantun County.
The Republic of Cameroon has refused to go for negotiations. There's so much injustice, and we are so disappointed with the response of the international community. Because if we were terrorists, then somebody better say so. If we have a just cause, then let us sit and negotiate what is wrong that has been done to us, and how are we supposed to right this wrong. We don't love to be refugees. We would rather be home and develop our own country, but not in a place where there are no human rights, no respect of international treaties. Refugees are registered in a neighboring country and they are rounded up. It's contrary to the law of no refoulement. The people send them and they are locked up in their thousands in French-speaking Cameroon. And they don't even have jail services like in a normal country where prisoners are cared for, treated. They're just locked up and families have to go hundreds of kilometers to try to smuggle food and medicines to them. Many a time, and those who can escape, here we are, because of you, begging you to send our petition, please.
All right, you're welcome back. All right, hope you're ready to draft today. Hope you're ready to draft for Dongan Mantun County. Last week was for Libelem, and we did exceedingly amazingly well. I'm sure that this week will be even much more better. Now, let's take a brief look at Dongan Mantun County. Now, it got its names from a German explorer called Donga, who opened a German station and hospital in Mbem in 1911. Mr. Donga also operated the first hydroelectricity plant on a river found beside the hospital, simply called Mantung, meaning river, in the Mbem dialect by the natives. So this station, under German directives, made a man and his project on the Mantun River. It made the Germans to simply consider him and his project a reference point for their exploration of the Cameroon High Plateau. Now, eventually, the administration of Cameroon found these names respective of the historical, developmental, and local distinction that should be used in honor of the indescribable work of these German. Now, it is also to be noted that it was he that used forced labor to excavate the road to Mbema via the dangerous Rome Rock manually. Now, for the sake of organization and clarity, this first part of the brief history of Dongan Mantun shall be focused on institution, the first part, and the second part will be focused on the history of the people who make up Dongan Mantun County. Now, they are the Wimbom, Yamba, Tikari, Mfente, Mbembe, Mbisa, and Misa J peoples. Now, Cameroon, however, became a German protectorate in July 14, 1884. By 1916, Germany was defeated during the First World War by the Allied forces, and Cameroon was handed over to France and Britain under the League of Nations Mandate Agreement of 1922. Britain and France was mandated by the League of Nations to administer and prepare Cameroon for self-government at a later date. Now, the mandate agreement resulted in the partition of Cameroon between the French and the British, who had to enact policies that would ensure efficiency in the administration of their respective portions of the mandate territory of Cameroon. Now, from 1916 to 1922, Britain had no formal administrative policy for the Cameroons and Nigeria. It was only in 1923 that the British Orders in Council created the then administrative unit known as Native Authorities (NA), and it was headed by traditional rulers. The 1923 Orders in Council established British colonial policy for the Cameroons and Nigeria. Now, the Orders in Council equally enacted that British laws, which were already applicable in Nigeria, by being extended to both northern and southern Cameroons. By this policy, each village or chieftaincy or fundum constituted a native authority. Now, the 1923 Orders in Council introduced a native administrative system known as indirect rule, through which Britain administered its colonies in Africa through indigenous chiefs and traditional institutions. This traditional system therefore excluded the educated elite from administration. The administration was mounted by traditional rulers who were, for the most part, not literate or well educated. Hence, they lacked both managerial capacities and financial resources to carry out social economic development. Now, this constituted a major flaw of the native authority system of administration. Now, this flaw necessitated the administrative reforms of 1949 by the British. Now, in 1949, Britain decided to create local government units in the Cameroons and Nigeria. Different chiefdoms or fundums were merged together to constitute local government units. Thus, the today Northwest region was transformed into a province known as the Bamenda province and 3 counties, namely Bamenda, Wom, and Nkambe. Southwest region was equally divided into 3 counties, namely Mamfe, Kumbe, and Victoria. Now, these counties had a deliberative and legislative powers, and the representatives were elected through universal suffrage. They were empowered to ensure development in all facets. Now, let's look at the creation of Nkambe County. Now, the Nkambe County, today known as Donga Mountain County, was created for the first time in 1949 by the British Colonial Ordinance. It was one of the 3 divisional local government units of the then Bamenda province of Southern Cameroon. The Bamenda province of Southern Cameroon was made up of 3 counties, namely Bamenda, Wum, and Nkambe. Nkambe County lasted from 1949 to 1968, when Donga and Mountain County were created by a presidential decree. Now, from 1963 to 1966, the Nkambe County was divided into 2 local government areas, namely Unwa local government area, created by presidential decree number 63/DF/25 of 26 July 1963, and Nkambe local government area, created by presidential decree number 66/DF/432 of 26 August 1966. Now, let's look at the proper creation of Donga Mountain County. On the 30th of December 1968, presidential decree number 68/DF/509 in Nkambe County was transformed into Donga and Mountain County. By the administrative reorganization of 1972, presidential decree number 72/349 of 4th July 1972 once more changed the name of the county from Donga and Mountain to simply Donga Mountain County. The conjunction "and" was simply removed from the name because "and" shows 2, but when it's together it shows 1. Now, it should be noted that Donga Mountain County derived its name from 2 rivers that flows across the county, namely River Donga in Ako local government area and River Mantung in Nwa local government area. Ako local government area was the 3rd local government area to be created in Donga Mountain County. It was created by a presidential decree in 1977. It covered Ako and Misa J areas. Ndu local government area was created by presidential decree in 1992, and its accompanying municipal council was created in 1993 via decree number 93/332 of 25th November 1993. Misaje local government area, just like Ndu local government area, was created and carved out of Ako local government area in 1992 by a presidential decree. Now, let's look at the creation of the 5 local government areas. From 1992 to 1996, Donga Mountain County witnessed yet another evolution. The constitutional reforms of 1996 in the Cameroons transformed provinces into regions and did away with the previous administrative units called districts and replaced them with subdivisions. Now, thus, from 1996, districts ceased to exist as administrative units in Cameroon. The local government area were each accompanied by municipal councils headed by mayors elected via universal suffrage. So the 5 local government areas that make up Donga Mountain today are 1 Nkambe Central Local Government Area, Nwa LGA, Ako LGA, Ndu LGA, and 5 Misaje LGA. Right, so this is where I would end the part 1 of the history of Donga Mountain County. So I'm sure that you are ready to draft. Once we begin drafting, we would have a pre-draft show. So get yourself ready and get yourself prepared to draft until we drop. I am Onyi Okbala saying thank you for tuning in and thank you for being part of our recap show today.
World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Ambazonia die as a wish, because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.